Hello, my beloveds, and welcome. I'm so happy to have you guys join me, for this is the beginning of the 7 divine rays within their visualization through what can also be used as a guided meditation. These visualizations, these compilations of verbiage, which is the vibrations of previous writings being reverberated not only through us, through our own occulted knowledge, which is compiled of such previous recordings, whether it be through audiobooks, written books, transcripts, it matters not, for they come from those who were also channeling the same information in their own vibration and was put forth as such. We have been asked to do the same, for we are children of the Law of One, and we reside within the seeking of the Law of One as well as the teaching. Understanding the light ray bodies at this time we feel is crucial. However, we seek that you only and desire that you only take that of a truth as a truth and as a part of your seeking on your journey. If it resonates, if anything that we say does not resonate, then please pay it no mind. Set it to the wayside, as we have stated before, for this is a common statement of understanding amongst the humankind on this planet. For in this dimension, in this density, right now, we are the embodiment of a specific light ray body, and we are also receiving and incorporating the incoming of light ray bodies, ones that we are finding within our aura, but are not always the light ray body that we were created within and from. Now, we are all created from within source. All sparks of creation come from source. Therefore, all divine light ray bodies are source. But in order for source to experience itself, it must have specific vibrational frequencies of the self divided and subdivided in ways that allow it to perceive within the most righteous hierarchy into the lowest vibrational density. Now, we say the lowest vibrational density. This does not mean that it is of any more importance or any less importance. They are all equal within the soul growth. The only way for us to receive the first and the second ray, and even the third ray, is we must be within the dimension and the density that holds that vibration to begin with, and we are. We have been within the first density and dimension. We have been within the second density and dimension. We have been within the third density and dimension, and we are now in the fourth, with the option and access to the blueprint of the fifth dimension. Now, this is not available to all, for you are the one that decided if you were able to access this. With that being said, although each density and dimension is still a part of there are no extra outside dimensions. There is one singular universe. There's one singularity, the central sun, the one Godhead. And then there are the subdivisions or the dualities therein, which would be the cosmic mother. She is equal to the Godhead, to the divine Father. She is the gender essence, equal and yet opposite in polarity. But she holds the same power as the Godhead, as do we all. Now, these frequencies and visualizations, as I stated, were written many years ago. Most notably, Alice A. Bailey, Dwal Kul, Kuthumi, Moria, even going back to Hermes Trismegistus and Hermes thrice the Great and Thoth, which are one and the same, just as Cthulhu and Dwalkul are one and the same. We are all subdivisions of ourselves. We are now experiencing a subdivision of our oversoul, a personality archetype extension within our soul grouping that makes up our monadic grouping, that makes up our monad. So in order for our soul to experience multitudes of experience as the soul experiences it in all formats within the interdimensional planes and within the physical plane, as does Source. We are experiencing for Source so that Source can experience through us, which allows us unbridled, infinite access to Source always. There is never a disconnect. So years ago when I started getting into this, I was introduced to the Law of One and a book on miracles. These were two of the very first that I was introduced to. This was introduced to me by my own self, by my oversoul, by my guides. Now, since then, I have become what is known as an anchored monad within the physical plane. There are only a specific number of us designated within this lifetime, within this energy, for we are in a new era and a new age of energy that has never been present. For each age brings with it a new energy. Each turning of the wheel brings with it a new age. Each turning of the wheel brings with it new incarnated purposes. Each turn of the wheel brings with it a new overseeing of a new vibration, which is for the purpose of planetary logos evolution and ascension, as well as the humankind evolution and ascension. This is also aiding our moon, our sun, Gaia, in her solidified state, not in the holographic projection, which most are still caught up in, but not as many as before. More and more are going into their awakening. Everyone is in the birthing canal of awakening. Whether you are like myself and you have been able to fully awaken and fully remember, and you are still going through the deepening parts of that attach you. I'm sorry, we don't want to use the word attach because of the belief systems around it, that link you to deeper aspects of the self within the monad, within the highest aspect of what you are, and within those sparks of creation. The sparks of creation that make up your monad are a specific vibrational frequency. That is why our soul has a specific vibrational frequency. Each and every soul contains a specific number, and they're all the same. Every single one of us was created with the same exact amount of vibrational frequencies, but they're each attuned to a specific way of experiencing through consciousness. That was the first. Those of us, such as myself, that comes within the first top 3 of the divine hierarchy of the rays, I chose to come back here to teach and to continue to experience yet again what it was like to be on this earthly plane, to be in a more dense plane, and to face the challenges of lessons and experience, but to also awaken to what I really am again in this density, in this age. For I have done it in all ages past. I have not done it in this age. And so I chose to come here for that experience because I have a purpose, and that purpose is in sacred service to others, and I will fulfill that in all ways. And so through that desire to fulfill, I was prompted to go into the Law of One. I was prompted to go into A Course on Miracles. Now, these are not books that you read. These are highly, above PhD level. These are books that you digest. These are channelings. Not book. They're books, but they're channelings. What I am doing now. So what I want you to understand, that everything comes from the one true Godhead, the one true God source, the one true cosmic mother. None of the thoughts that we present are our own. They are simply the truth that exists within all truths that we know to be true and that others have known to be true. Those of us that have come as teachers to plant the seed of awareness for what really is and to break down the veil in the matrix even further so that others may awaken through the process a bit more easily with a bit more love, a bit more self-love, and a bit more wisdom and a bit more intuitive access. So within the first 7 rays, which were recently updated to include some of the more esoteric information, which has been presented in the Ray Reading Manual. Now, the Ray Reading Manual is something that you can access quite a few different works. You can go to HTTP, and I'm actually going to have this in the description, by the way. HTTP, or actually, you know what? Never mind. Let me just. That's information that's going to be in the description. Look for a link of websites in the description of this video that will take you to different channelings that provide the understanding of the rays. The understanding of all 12 earthly rays is what was within the manual. Now, so if you go to any of these sites, I would suggest understanding of the rays by reading the manual, which covers the understanding of all 12 earthly rays in the 6 cosmic rays. But, and that's if you're really wanting to go deep, but for the beginner, the 7 divine rays is a very useful starting point, and that's what we're going with right now. The rays can be described as vibrational frequencies of divine unfolding light emanating from the cosmic heart of our Mother, Father, Godhead. They bring with them particular qualities, colors, and sonic vibrations. They are integrated within our various energy bodies and allow us to be conscious of ourselves, not just as the vessel, but as the magical beings of light that we really are. Now, everything that you just heard me speak on prior to what I just stated, that was me speaking from the Brotherhood of White, the Guardians of Light. What I am putting forth now is a compilation of verbiage that has already been written down within a transcript of channeled workings between myself and multiple others. I have not read this transcript, so you guys know, I have not read this transcript in its fullest up until now. So when I divert from the transcript and I present some information that's coming through prior to what I'm about to read, you're going to see that it will be very parallel. Now, I cannot prove this to you, but those of you that know me, those of you that feel the vibration within this channeled work of love and wisdom, this will hold the tone of truth. It will resonate within you like the sounding of a bell, a tone that harmonizes, balances, and calms the soul. It brings with it the totality of knowing. This is the vibration that we carry. This is the vibration of our reality and of our designated truth, our Sankalpa. So, as that has been stated, we shall continue. The rays further assist in the activation of the dormant DNA and the awakening to our multi-dimensional memories. Now, as you heard me speaking, we are in one dimension. There are no other dimensions or outer dimensions. I was going to complete that sentence by saying there are multi-dimensions, meaning there are multi built on top of the other or subdivisions of the other. There are nothing outside of that. There is nothing outside of that. There are multi-layered dimensions, but there is no dimension outside of the source. But there are multiple dimensions within the experience of source. Now, that was a channeling just now from myself, from those that are coming through me to you. And we also want to touch on the awakening of the DNA and the awakening to our multidimensional memories, because the influence of the rays can take us into a deeper understanding of our light work, as well as giving insight into particular behavioral patterns we may still be integrating. Now, this is why we're being so called to put this forth at this time, and this is us speaking. So many have been feeling the call to let go and break away from habits, behavioral traits, societal and egoic pre-programmed belief systems, trauma, past relationships, generational trauma, karmic attachments. Whatever the case is, you're being called and you know it. You feel it, but you challenge it. What we are bringing forth is releasing you from challenge and the need for control. We are bringing in the ability to harness the desire to surrender and accept. And we channel and bring this in for you now. So we would like for you to take a moment and take 3 deep breaths in through your nose at the count of 6. Hold it for the count of 3. And then exhale at the same speed you inhale to the count of 6 until you release all air from your vessel. Repeat this 2 more times for us as we bring in and integrate this beautiful embodiment of love, wisdom, truth, and the new earth, light encoded, activation seeking, transmission, and transmutation at this time. We are adding this in. We were not planning on it, but we are being prompted to do so. This is being spoken as an ultimate truth for the conscious collective. So be it, and so it is. Ora kete ara kataya rikiti anati ara shotoya kataya. Dayash katayash barasho. Now we are picking right back up at 1717. A beautiful synchronicity. Thank you. Sending my gratefulness to the universe for that. Now, we spoke on Alice Bailey previously, and it's interesting in the transcripts that are being spoken about, and this is a transcript, this part was not written by me, but in the transcript it is talking about Alice Bailey channeling and working with Dual. And it says that the Alice Bailey, through her trance channelings with Dual, brought through much information on the first 7 rays. And this is very true, as I actually have the books written by not only Kuthumi and Dual, but Alice Bailey. And these were presented to me, as well as the audio book, which is called the Complete Ascension Manual by Joshua David Stone, narrated by Axel Bosley, which again incorporates Alice Bailey, Dual, Kuthumi, Moria. These are all ones that are those that really focused on the rays, and now they're really being they're being focused on in the scientific manner. They're being realized that they're actually they're actually affecting us as a species, but in a good way. You know, it's kind of like the theories within that which we called quantum theory are no longer theory. They're fact, they're truth, although they're still approached in a scientific manner. But what was brought through in those channelings, those trance channelings, exactly what I do and what I'm doing now, and in recent years, this has been expanded upon by scientific communities, by authors and spiritual facilitators, such as Dr. Stone, which is who I just mentioned, actually. And he just brought that up. That's amazing. Brian Grattan and Janet McClure. And of course, Janet McClure, if you're not familiar with her, she is another one that I'm very familiar with. These are all ones that I've worked with. Sorry, you guys keep hearing that knocking. That's me accidentally hitting my headset with my crystals, because I get so excited when I receive information. And this is, by the way, like I said, this is a transcript I have not visited. I have not incorporated in the way that it's being incorporated now. And so our hope, not only from myself, from those in this trans channeling, and from the transcript of condensed and cooperative wisdom and truth, we hope that you find some useful insights in the form of these guided based truths and information, wisdom and love, and also visualizations on the 7 divine rays, and that you may also like to consider the 7 ray downloads, which are available from the Melchizedek and Pleiadian Lane Network, which is going to be one of the websites that will be listed in the description. So this is to ultimately and truly understand the rays. And in order to do that, you need to work with them experientially, but work with them. And imagery and visualization are very useful. So in this integration process, we're going to be incorporating that. And we're going to be, of course, we're trans-channeling. So you're going to be feeling energies. So some people, and I feel that most people, will feel or sense that these respective energies are present, and that they will find resonance within them. And understand that this is a very condensed overview, but it's one that is going to provide the most information and what is needed to be heard at this moment. Because the rays are not only what are incoming in terms of providing these energies for ourselves. So everyone is integrating these energies regardless, in these frequencies. There are still those who embody them to their full attunement, which means these are the rays that they originally come from. This is the rays of existence that they were created to represent, to present, to embody in all incarnations, not just this one. That's why whenever I channel or whenever I'm speaking, I'm always talking about being a fully embodied, fully attuned Blu-ray. This means that this is the frequency that I am in all embodiments, in all incarnations. And then all the other light ray bodies that are present at that time, I incorporate and I use in sacred service to others for the highest and greatest good of not only that sacred service to others, but sacred service to the soul growth of myself. For the soul growth of one is the soul growth of all. So the rest of you that don't find resonance, you may have to simply trust that you have given yourself permission for this life to work and create change, for the anchoring and activating of the respective rays and related qualities to occur. So with that in mind, please enjoy this. From our heart to your heart and to the cosmic heart of all creations, blessings and love. Logos Adonai Vasu Baragas. Eoasiain. The first ray is the ray of will and power. We call in and welcome the ray of will and power. Sweet beams of light are within this guided visualization as you are going to work with the first ray of will and power at this moment in this time. The first ray is a very powerful ray to work with. Given the power and control issues that are disintegrated on a global level, and a wonderful way to work with this is to personally assist you to shift deeper into empowerment and to align your will to the divine, to the will of the Mother, Father, God. So again, let's take another deep breath in. holding it. Inhale this ray into the body and now see a beautiful golden white light above the top of your head, above your crown chakra. And breathe this deeply into and through the crown chakra. As you breathe in this fluid, golden, white light of the Mother, Father, God, just allow it to enter each cell and molecule of your body, from the atomic to the subatomic, cleansing and clearing and healing, and breathe out anything that needs to be released at this time. Just breathe into the body, and through these deep and rhythmic breaths, as you come into that center within yourself, that center of balance, of love, of harmony and wholeness. Let us now mentally set up our sacred space and call in these incredible beings of light that overline us in this journey and on this journey to self-mastery, to the magnificence of all life. We now call upon the archangels within the human realm. The archangels, north, south, east, and west. As above and so below. The mighty Elohim. The Christed ETs. The order of Melchizedek. In the Milky or the Galactic Logos. The bridge to the solar Christ consciousness. Lord Buddha, the planetary Logos, Lord Maitreya, the planetary Christ, the Kohans of the rays within your higher light, and guarded angels. We now call in natural intelligence and other beings of light that you personally acknowledge, that we personally acknowledge. We ask them, for we so desire and wish for them to join us now in this sacred space as we align ourselves more and more with the light of who we are as this magical master being, as an ambassador of light, of good and of goodness, of whole and of wholeness. So now we ask you, take a moment, go within, and take a look at some of the lessons that you may have experienced regarding power and control. If you remember at the beginning of this transmission, we spoke of how power is not really desired or needed. It is the belief of desire or desiring control and desiring power that is present. When you look at these experiences regarding power and control and the issues therein, some of the choices you have made, the choices to align your will with the divine and the will of the Father and the Mother God, or the choice to be involved in power, these are games. They are the choice to shift out of power, of control and domination issues. The choice to be involved in power exists in the choosing to either exert your will over another or playing the victim persecutor. This is a conscious role. Perhaps you feel you have no choice, but you do. Because as these issues surface for you, know that you have an opportunity to clear them by working with this first ray. So if you are so willing to work within this first ray as we channel this through us to you, we please desire and ask that you state yes at this time. For by doing so, know that you'll have an opportunity to clear all this away through the will and the power, the conscious will and power through choice, not control, through surrender, not the desire to overpower. So with that, we call in the will and power of the divine first ray. Master El Moria Kohan to this first ray invites you to go on a journey with him, which will assist you to come into your own power, into empowerment through this ray of will and power. And now, overlighted by Master El Moria, you're going to travel to the ascension seat of will and power, holding the energy of this first ray in its highest light and in its highest potential, and supported in this divine light by your own wonderful higher light and your higher self of the light and the mighty I Am presence. And now, an external Merkaba vehicle of light comes in a beautiful energetic spaceship made in the finest frequencies of love and light surround you, and you now travel through the grids of divine light and find yourself in the ascension seat. Take a look around you. Behold the beauty of the light. Behold the beauty that this divine master presents to you in your ascension process. Behold your own light, your own conscious choice. For this first ray gently sends you their love, and all those therein send you their love and their light and their support. And now, as you feel the energies of the first ray of will and power being anchored through each cell and molecule in your body in a vibrant red color, El Moria comes before you and warmly welcomes you to the ascension seat. Tells you more about the first ray of will and power, and Master El Moria lets you know that this first ray is primarily about owning your personal power and aligning your will with the divine will of God. This first ray, along with the second ray of love and wisdom, the I am that I am, and this is us speaking, for we are the full embodiment of love and wisdom. We join in this integration and the third ray of divine intelligence, also called the threefold flame of power, all of which are anchored, embodied, and being presented to you through us, El Moria, and all those within the divine white brotherhood and masters of light at this time. We call within and above and as so below all aspects of the divine qualities, so that you are working with these rank qualities. And what we mean by rank qualities is in the essential rank that they are being presented, the first, the second, and the third, in their sequential ranking. And as others are still choosing the victim persecutor consciousness, you are choosing to work within these qualities, always to some degree from this point forward. You are no longer the victim, the persecutor. You are no longer choosing that form of conscious awareness. You are consciously choosing to integrate the qualities of the first ray and the vibrant energy associated with this ray, which requires you to detach yourself from the control and domination issues and becomes the empowered warrior of divine will. You are now the silent, peaceful warrior for yourself, not for others in terms of controlling others, but finding that power within and letting it exude from you, and others magnetize to you because they desire to be around you. You don't have to present yourself as something other than you're not anymore, because that is only keeping those around you temporarily, because it is not your real self. It is an identity you have given yourself to draw people in, but that's different than magnetizing. Or, well, let us rephrase that. You are actually magnetizing everything in that you desire. So if you are desiring something that is other than what you truly are, then it is going to come to you in the form of other people, in the form of personality traits. But if these traits are not in alignment with your true being, and you find unhappiness in multitudes of aspects around you, then this is where this ray is coming in to cleanse and clear that away and show you a clear view of not only who you truly are, what you truly are, but what you truly desire from your own being and from your own reality. And for a second now, this has been us speaking and we're not reading from the transcript. So if there has been an overlapping, I do apologize for that. So we're going back to the transcript now, but we want you to know that in so doing this, you are told that you will truly understand what it is to will power. You will gain clarity what it means to will power. This is something that we speak on, and now we are speaking for ourselves. This is something that we speak on so much from these transmissions that we receive from the brotherhood, from our higher self, from that embodiment of the love, wisdom ray that we are, because we know it to be true. True will power means that you have the will to acknowledge the true power within you that has always been present, but that has been used in ways not in alignment with true will or true power. You are going to understand that rather than to submit to it, the first magical image associated with this ray is of a mighty warrior on his chariot, armed and crowned, going forth into war, his strong right arm protecting his people and ensuring that justice shall be served. The warrior knows when it's time to utilize positive anger. This is a transmutation and a real realchemization of energy. Let me make that very clear. It ensures respect and wisdom to the correct use of will and power, love and wisdom. And although this dynamic right action may occasionally appear as confrontational, we prefer the use triggers. I made a post the other day on my timeline where this was very, very present, where you saw I brought forth my own will, love, wisdom, and the power of my own being to attempt to bring awareness to undo suffering within another soul, because he was reaching out for it. He was seeking someone to help him. Although his seeking was misguided, he was seeking it. Therefore, we were able to take that open portal, that open door, and offer our guidance. It was not well received, and that's okay. The seed was still planted. It is often seen as conflict from those who are still unable to see within their true sight, the conscious sight, the third eye, the all-seeing eye, the God mind. When we perceive and when our lens is perceiving through that conscious mind, how we perceive these words transforms. It's almost like in a fairy tale book when we're growing up, how these mythical beasts become so magnificent in our imagination, as do these words. They take on a whole new imagery. And that is what we are here to provide for you. Instead of conflict, we present conflict resolution. And hence, many socio-political souls who operate primarily from within the emanations of the first-rate apartment or compartment. The second magical image, which is associated with the first rate, is that of the hermaphrodite. Now, before we get into that, we just mentioned that socio-political souls operate primarily within the emanations of the first-rate compartment or apartment. Now, we say this because that, in its highest aspect, would be someone that is a teacher, someone that helps others just for the sake of helping, because they understand their true power and the will of their words. They combine that with the love and the wisdom ray by beginning to understand it, as we will present that next in our next channeling, for we are very, very familiar with that ray. So we just listed the archetype personalities that are best noted within this ray. Now, because of this, in its lower vibrational frequency, you're going to see politicians, government officials, those that want to use the will and power for its less than desired divine nature. So, with that being said, we're going on into the continuation of what we were stating. Taking a few deep breaths. Now, the first ray is that of a hermaphrodite. The energy associated with this image is about bringing into balance the divine, masculine, and feminine energies. This is also something we speak on a lot. Combining power with love and bringing a deeper level of integration and equilibrium between the left and right hemispheres of the brain. The key to integrating the first ray is to trust and surrender. Something that we just brought forth in our channeling with the collective card pull. These channelings come in a sequential nature, and although we do not always know how they're going to present themselves in alignment with the previous, they always do. And if you go and you play them in the sequential order, you will see that. The card pulls came preceding to this, so that when we brought this forth, there would be an understanding of why that was being presented to the collective and to ourselves as a message. Because it is helping you to integrate all that is being brought forth at this time. When you trust and surrender, when you truly allow your higher light to guide you with the overlighting of the Mother, Father, God, and the company of heaven, this takes you out of the fight or flight, or out of the survival mode, into living in love, as well as lifting the veils of illusion and allowing you to follow your soul purpose or sacred contract. When you touch the higher mind of God in the realms of illuminated truth, you seek only to inspire others to seek their truths and their utter spiritual reality. This requires coming into empowerment as the benevolent energy of the warrior king or the warrior queen, taking others into new frontiers through the breaking down of old structures and manifesting new forms based on the one unity or the one collective and cosmic consciousness. Many of the souls traveling along the first ray will generally have chosen life filled with perceived obstacles and challenges. In order to have the courage to step into their power in a deeper level of compassion, wisdom, and love for the gift you give to yourself and others as mastery lies within this first ray, as you are immeasurable in its magnificence. The distortions to this ray have been played out on this earthly playground. So let us make that very clear. For eons upon eons, and now, as you enter into higher dimensional frequency of light, you let go of these illusionary garments. As you put on garments of light, as the atoms and molecules in the body spin faster, and as you activate the dormant DNA, bringing you through to the essence, the more of your multi-dimensional memories, the more of your real being, as you choose to align your will with the divine will of Mother, Father, God, and you choose to reclaim your power. And you do this through the coming into peace, through the letting go of the illusionary aspects that no longer hold true for you. Now, this is going to be a 2-part transmission because it will take a while to upload onto YouTube. So we're going to end the transmission there. We will finish recording the second part of this after we get done after we get done putting this together and compiling this, but we want to finalize this with stating, if you remember in the collective card pull the other day, we were very, very perceptive of the garments being worn. That how when you decide to let go of that which no longer serves you, you adorn the garments of light, of golden source light. We made you very aware of the colors. So these messages have been coming through, and they are continued to coming through in full and pure alignment. And we know that you can feel this. So with that, we are going to end this first session and first transmission. In terms of the recording in and of itself at this moment, as we are going to pick it up in a second recording following right after this. However, you guys will hear it in two parts to make it a little bit easier to digest and allowing you to take it in sections if you so wish, and also allowing me to get this out there to you guys quicker, because it does take a moment with my internet, for I do not desire anything to go through any sooner than in divine timing. So with that, as always, I see you all. I feel you all. You are in our hearts, our souls, our minds, and in the unison of all three, the divine Trinity. We are the I Am presence. We are love and wisdom. We are will and power. We are integrity through intuition. We are conscious intellect. Arakadaya shotia tai anatai omash. Barakatai ola le ega ala la. Da arakatai. Ina la oga satia shatai moyati. Diathakana arakatai arashatiash. Barakatai omashai sai tokai adash. Dada ora da omash. Logosadanai vasoda baragas.